PFG.com.
Purchase your tracks today.
A lot of you have been asking questions about Prospect for Girls. Who are we? What do we do? So I'd like to give a brief about what we do, who we are, and why we do what we do. In today's event, to celebrate International Women's Day, we have people in the skills industry. As you all know, the theme for this year is the Gambia Skilled Woman. We need to encourage skills. We need to promote skills. We inspire people to take up skills courses, skills training, especially women. So quickly, I'll tell you about Prospect for Girls. Basically, what we do as a foundation, as a community-based organization, is to promote and empower people to take up vocational skills, and as well as encourage people to go beyond what people call the female skill and do more than what they think they can do, to achieve more than what they think they can actually achieve. Prospect for Girls is a community-based organization that promotes women with vocational skills, as well as empower women and young girls through health education. So I am the founder, and I have Fatoumata Kasama who works with me. And Fatoumata is a nurse. She would come in later in the program to tell you more about what she does. So basically, Fatoumata educates people on women's health education across the country. So recently, we launched a program called My Period, My Pride. It's basically to sensitize people on menstrual hygiene across the Gambia. So we're visiting different communities. We intend to sensitize 1,000 young girls on their periods. Apparently, in the rural Gambia, especially, we notice that a lot of young girls stay out of school because they do not have access to reusable pads or disposable pads. So today, basically, our focus is on skilled women. And so I would like to make an announcement that today we are launching our first vocational skills training for young girls and women. So women between the ages of 18 and 35 can benefit from our program. So basically, the program is to train young girls and women on photography, tailoring, food and beverage management, and also on web design. But this is strictly for women, and we're launching it today to celebrate the International Women's Day. Thank you. So, not to take much of your time with my presentation, I hope this has given you an insight about what we do and who we are. But we're going to still be around. If you have questions, you can ask us personally. There would be a networking session at the end of the program for you to ask questions and also learn more about how to apply for the vocational skills training for women. So I'd like to call on Jaina Bosonko, who would be chairing the panel discussion on the Gambia Skilled Woman. Please welcome Jainaba.
This is an opportunity, and we are going to have a few minutes that we'll give you guys to basically ask questions. So this is going to be a very interactive session, I believe. So now I have the honor to introduce Tiga, who is the founder, Ndai Fatu, who is the founder, and you can clap for her as she comes. We also have Awa Konate, who is the CEO and founder, Yao's Creation. We also have Chan Mendy, who is the co-founder, Ida's Idea Fashion Institute. Thank you so much. Like I said before, I expect that we will have a very brilliant conversation, considering the fact that majority of you want to walk on your own. Most of you want to have a skill and walk on your own, so you get the opportunity to ask them questions as well as mingle with them to be able to know. So we will start with Tiga. Yeah.
I am the founder of TIGA. First of all, I'd like to apologize that I came a little bit late. I had some car issues, and I am the founder of TIGA. I started TIGA in 2016, and what we do is we use African fabric to make swimwear, handmade products, accessories, apparel, and basically indigenous, unique, handmade gifts. I started with the swimwear in 2016 because I realized there was a gap in the market here in the Gambia for swimwear that represented our culture, represented, our fabrics, represented us as African women. I couldn't find any of that here, and I'm a frequent swimmer. So all I could find were swimwears that were imported from Europe, China, or America, and I didn't think there was anything special about them. I didn't think they were fun. They weren't really very attractive for me, so I wanted to do something about it. So that's the first point that I want you to note, that I realized there was a gap in the market. I realized there was an issue, and I decided to do something about it by coming up with a product to fill up that gap. And that's how Tiga started in 2016. And since then, we've rebranded, we've changed our logo. We still do the swimwear, but we do more of accessories and apparel and other products at the moment, but with the same concept, using African fabric and all handmade. So that's what we do. No one was doing something about it to fill that gap. Tiga is the first swimwear brand in the Gambia. So it just happened that I have a passion for swimming, and it was a problem that I wanted to fix, and I decided to do something about it. I think that's what makes it different. That maybe someone else might have realized that it was an issue, but the difference is that I decided to do something about it by making the product and coming up with it.
And I know that you're a very young person, and then, like I said before, it's important to motivate the young ones who are here. To be an entrepreneur as a young woman, what does it take to be an entrepreneur? Because this is something that these young people will have to take with them when they're going back. Because when I ask them, majority of them want to have a skill. Majority of them want to work on their own. So what does it take? I know there's a specific step that you need to take as a young person to be that perfect entrepreneur. Help us with that.
I'll tell you one thing. It is not as glamorous as we look right now sitting here, and that's just the reality. It is very tough to be an entrepreneur, especially here, and especially if you're a girl or a woman, because we have all these cultural and religious barriers that tell you that you cannot do this, you cannot be this, no, you have to be married, you have to stay at home and have kids. I am well known for breaking barriers. I'm not the type of woman that follows the rules or the norms. I come up with my own rules. I question things. I just don't. So, there'll be a lot of challenges. You'll have people, for example, when I came up with the swimwear, I had a lot of challenges because most people in the Gambia are Muslim. So a lot of people were very judgmental. A lot of people thought that, women wear swimwear to go to the, I had to tell this guy that women don't wear swimwear to go to the market, right? Or to go to naming ceremonies. They wear it at the pool or at the beach, and as they should. So I faced a lot of challenges with that, a lot of judgment, but I didn't allow that to hold me back. And that's another thing. If you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe in your vision. You cannot allow anybody and their opinions to sway you, to make you feel like your idea is not good enough, or to make you give up. Once you figure out that this is what I want to do and this is what I want to achieve, you have to go for it no matter what the obstacles are. And there will be obstacles. You will face obstacles. And sadly, the reality is that most of those obstacles you'll face are going to come from other women and girls like you. And that's the saddest thing about it. Because as women, we don't want to see each other do well. We don't want to see each other prosper. I call it the crabs in the bowl syndrome. You see, when you put a lot of crabs in a bowl, when one of them is climbing up, the others pull it down. Do them, duma them. That is what the Wolof said. And that is what we suffer the most from in the Gambia. It is a big, 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 big issue. And you need to be aware of that. Because the Wolof said, soy egg. Dinañ la jam xeer ba nga sonna waaye di nga tollu foo xam ne suñ la jamee xeer sa xeer bi du la laalati dafa delluwaat si borom. So you have to be very wary about that. Be ready. Be ready. Takaleen seen liggéey, because it will not be easy. It will not be easy. You will not have a social life. You might not even have friends. You will be so busy that sometimes you won't even remember your name. But that is what it takes. It comes with a sacrifice. comes with sacrifices.
Yeah, last question for you. You talked about sacrifices. I know you're studying law at the University of the Gambia. At the same time, having a skill aside and working on your own. And a single mother as well. This is like the whole package, a three thing, having to achieve three things at the same time. Like still on the motivation purpose for young people who are here. How do you get to blend all of these things and make it work?
I get a lot of people ask me, Tiga, how do you do it? Because I'm running from lectures, going to meetings, going to get stuck, going to the tailors, meeting customers, marketing, networking. I get home. At night, I shower, I eat, I study, do assignments. Sometimes I only get 2 hours sleep. And that's been my life for the past 3.5 years. It is not easy. It takes a lot away from you. It affects your mental health. Sometimes you suffer from anxiety because you're always so overwhelmed. When I look at my to-do list every single day, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this today? Or how am I going to complete this week? But, you know, it comes with the job. I chose to study law because I want to represent and advocate for the rights of women and girls. I decided to start a business because it's my passion and it's very important for me to be independent and not to rely on anybody, especially a man. So these are all choices that I made. So I'm ready to stick with all the consequences and the challenges it comes with. But it is not easy. I actually don't have an answer on how I do it because I really don't know how I do it. I ask myself that question all the time. All I know is I do it. I don't know how, but it takes a lot from you.
Thank you so much. And it's good that you talked about a list, a plan of things that you have to do in a month or in a week. I think that is one thing that disturbs us as young women. We don't actually plan. We just do things. So I think this is something that you can take with you when you're going. You have to plan things to be able to achieve things properly. So I think that is a very, very good point. So now we'll go to Chan Mendy, who is the co-founder, Ida's Idea Fashion Institute. So, like I asked Tiga, tell us about what motivated this? What motivated you to get into the fashion industry?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chan Mendy. I'm the co-founder of Ida's Ideas Fashion and Design Training Institute. It's basically the first fashion design school in the Gambia. So we train students on an internationally recognized curriculum in fashion design and garment construction. So we do have regional recognized trainers, and we also have apprenticeship programs with the best designers in the Gambia after completion of your course. So what we also train is basically the whole aspect of fashion design. We start from the introduction to fashion design, and then we go into the history of fashion. We do design development, which is how to put your portfolio and how to put your collection together. We also train on colors and textile, because as a designer you need to know your colors, and also research on what materials to use. Okay, we also have another program on fashion innovation and creativity, because as a designer you need to be fashionable, you need to be creative, and you need to be innovative. And then obviously the garment construction part, which all of you are familiar with, which is tailoring. Okay, so what inspired me to do what I'm doing today? So many of you may have known I was born in the fashion industry. My mom is Ida Conte. She has been a designer for over 30 years. Okay, so after my education, I decided to further my after school, high school, I decided to further my education, but I didn't study fashion design. I said I wanted to be an accountant for a very long time, and then that's what I did when I started college. But then after a while, I decided to lose the passion for it, and because I was born in the fashion industry, I was like, it's just right that I do this that I know. Okay, so I've had it in me. I've always been creative since I was a very young girl. And then because I started to reevaluate my life, I was like, I don't want to live abroad, okay? I want to go back home. But if I go back home, the chances for me to work anywhere else It's nowhere but my company that we have built for a very long time. So I'm gonna go back to Ida's Ideas anyway. So, but what will I do to take Ida's Ideas to the next level? Okay, and that's how the idea of creating this institute came about. Okay, so I was like, I'm gonna learn this skill and take back home, because the journey here was not easy. International schools abroad are very expensive, and like we all know, in the Gambia there's no fashion design course, even in the University of the Gambia, and that's very sad. So like I said, it was not easy, it's expensive, it's away from home, and there's a lot of challenges living abroad. So how will I make this course possible for the people that are living here that don't have the opportunity to travel and learn this skill like I did? And that's how I came about with this. So I'm gonna take back my skill, my knowledge, back to my fellow youths and train them on this so that they won't have to worry about all the challenges that went through, okay? And that's how Ida's Ideas came about.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hence, you're in the fashion industry. And like I said before, young people are here. Talk to us about how lucrative the fashion industry is. Like, if a young person who wants to study medicine, for instance, and at the same time has the passion for fashion, wants to forego medicine for fashion, what would you advise the individual? Do you think the fashion industry is lucrative enough for that particular individual to leave that for fashion?
If I understand your question right, the person wants to be a doctor. For instance, wants to be a doctor, but still wants to pursue fashion.
And wants to leave fashion, wants to leave that for fashion. How lucrative is the fashion industry? How encouraging is it?
Yeah, the fashion industry is very wide. But what I've realized is you can't join two things together. You can't be a doctor or be a lawyer and want to be a fashion designer, because it takes a lot of sacrifice. Like she said, it takes a lot of things to be a successful in your field, okay? If you want to be successful in the field you're in, you have to concentrate on that and be focused. You can't do two things at the same time and expect both of them to be successful, okay? The fashion industry is very wide. Don't think as a fashion designer all you have to do is sit on the machine and sew. That's not what being a fashion designer is, okay? There's many branches to it. You can be a stylist, you can be a designer, you can be a tailor, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a fashion trainer like I am. The list goes on. So it's a very versatile industry and you can do a lot with it. To be a fashion designer takes a lot, and I feel like you really need to focus on that, and that's what you want to be. Focus on the skill and make it successful, okay? Find ways to make it innovative and bring a difference out of your field, all right?
Yeah, so Tiga talked about the fact that women do not support each other when it comes to what they do. So I know there are a lot of women in the fashion industry. So how do you think that these women can be each other's keepers? Because I see around a lot of flyers and stuff encouraging women to be each other's keepers, encouraging women to support each other. So how do you think women will be able to facilitate the fact that they have to be each other's keepers instead of fighting each other when it comes to positions or whatever they're doing?
That is true. We do have that problem where it's very difficult for females to work together in the Gambia. But at the end of the day, you have to believe that I'm going to talk about my industry. When it comes to fashion, you can't work on your own, okay? You need a team. And to be successful, you have to work with your team, and that's how it should be amongst women. We have to work together in order to be successful, okay? Put our differences aside and focus on the goal. And the goal is to be successful, but how are we going to put the fashion industry to where it's supposed to be? We have to work together. It's not an individual thing. Okay, the fashion industry is for the whole of Gambia, and we have to have the same concept, the same goal to make it successful. Like for me, instance, my goal is to increase the capacity and the quality of the fashion design sector. I am not going to do that on my own. I'm going to work together with females, and I'm going to work together with other fashion designers to make sure that that dream comes true. do. And that's the only way we can move forward, we can achieve what we want. And I have this thing like, I believe that development in the Gambia cannot take place without the production participation of women, and that's us. And that can only happen meaningfully if our girls and women are empowered with the skills to be productive in the society. And I do really believe that. So as women, we need to work together in order to have a success, to have success in the field that we are in.
I think that is very important. We have to be each other's keepers. If we try to bring each other down, nobody's going to go up at the end of the day, because all of us are actually fighting each other. And you're all female, and it happens in schools. I know sometimes women are insecure. Sometimes it's natural that we are insecure. Yeah, the complexity and the list goes on. But it's actually left to us to understand that we are sisters. We have to support each other. It's not a competition at the end of the day, but healthy competition is necessary sometimes anyway. Yeah, we have to put that into consideration. Yes, now we go to Yao's creation. Yao's creation. What motivated Yao's creation to come and play? I know you do things outside of Yao's creation, in which we will come to later. But for now, tell us about how Yao's creation came into be and what really motivated it.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone here. Thank you for inviting me. And so Yao's creation started in 2007. I think my story is quite similar to Chan's. I was born in the fashion industry. I was born with my mom being a seamstress. My mom used to sew dresses for her friends and families and doing it as a business. So up to about age of 7 or 8, she switched to a hairdressing salon. So she had the biggest hairdressing salon, and she was organizing then fashion shows where she was inviting designers from Senegal, entertainers from Senegal, designers from here, and also entertainers. So growing up in that kind of family is what motivated me, if I may say. And so I went to school here, I finished my high school here, and I was lucky to have the chance to pursue my education in England. And so my dad wanted me to do law. So I started, with law and IT, and it wasn't for me. I don't like reading a lot. I don't like sitting in class to concentrate, to be told what to do. This is something that have always been in me. So I've been very creative from a very early age. I would change my outfits into whatever I want, and even my sisters, and do different hairstyles and stuff like that. And so this is all the steps towards the creative journey that started Yao's Creations. So when I came back in 2007, it was more of a holiday thing. I laugh today saying this because I wanted to go back and do my master's in fashion. So I didn't have the chance to go back, It was quite difficult because I overstayed for a few months before I came back for holidays. So I thought it was cool, being a young person, I thought I would have my visa to go back, but unfortunately I did not. And that's where Yao's Creation started. This is back in 2007.
Yes, I'll ask the same question because I know you're doing well. You're all doing well, and you're doing well too. We'll come to the other activities that you're doing. But I will ask you the same question that I asked Tiga. Like, as a young woman at that time, what are some of the plans that made you achieve Yao's Creation? What are some of the things that you did that really brought Yao's Creation into being, Because I know there must have been steps that you took. So what were those steps that you took that made you actually achieve it, and you are here today, and we are able to celebrate you for the young people who are, of course, present here?
So the steps I took after I realized I wasn't going back was I started sketching, and one of the tailors that I used to work with, or that used to sew my clothes before I left, then I started going back to him. So I would sketch, and he does the tailoring, and I wear. Just like Chan said, the fashion industry is quite huge. So I don't sit down on the machines to sew. I do more of sketches and designing. So that's the plan. So there was no plan, but this is how it started. So I was wearing it, and people started appreciating it, and were actually questioning where I was getting what I was wearing from. And I was like, okay, so this must be good for people to start asking. And so this is how I started, with one tailor at the house and making clothes and doing door-to-door sales. You know, I started with door-to-door sales, going to my friends and family and encouraging them to buy. In that way, they can support. And this is how it all started.
Yeah, another question which is very important is, a lot of young people feel that if you have to start a business, you need $1 million to start it. A lot of young people have that concept. They want to say that normally sometimes they say that I have to work to be able to gather a lot of money, $1 million, to be able to start something. How did you start? What amount? If you can't tell us the amount, but how little did you put together to be able to start Yow's Creation? Because I believe at some point that it's not $1 million that will make you achieve certain things.
No, certainly not. I started with a very little money. So it was more about the machine and being able to pay one tailor. And so that wasn't too much at all. Because I wasn't a business person, I didn't have any business course, to me it was just a passion, following my passion and doing something to get me busy whilst I was here. And so it didn't take much at all. It didn't even take up to $50,000, you know, not to talk about $1 million. So if this is what a lot of people are thinking, or a lot of young people, then it is not the right way to think. You know, I think starting a business is all about a passion. A lot of people also do start something because they see other people doing it. If you're not passionate about it, if it's not something that makes you feel well content with yourself, then don't do it. Follow or start something. And in that way, you don't think of the millions, especially being a young person. You know, it's different from a businessman starting another business, which he might already be seasoned in whatever he was doing, so he's got the experience and he knows he have to have a business plan. Because normally you should have a business plan in order to start a business, but we don't. You know, like Tigger said, because we're in the field we're quite rebellious and quite different from doing things. But I don't think that's only the art, that's even business in general, starting it as a young person, unless you're brought up in a way where you're told this, in order to do business, this is how you have to start. You have to have a constructive business plan and things like that. Otherwise, follow your dreams, you know. With dreams, you have to be bold about what you want and then go for it. And if you really, if it's really something meaningful to you, then it will get to the next stage.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. Considering the fact that you should not just start something because you want to, because someone else is doing it. And as young women, I think this is a very important message. We do not start something because we see another young lady or another woman is doing it, for instance, and the person is successful. We started because we want it, and it's coming from our heart. So sometimes I tell people, young people, that the duplication of efforts in the Gambia is too much, and we don't duplicate it because maybe that is what we want, but we duplicate it because a specific individual is doing that particular thing, and the person is successful. So I think when it comes to that, young people and as women, we should really improve on that. Yes, we go to the next person. Persist, the founder of Gambia Skilled Academy. We're so happy to have you here. And like I asked everybody, what really motivated you to venture into the fashion industry in the Gambia? You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Like she said, I am Fatou Sengay, the Executive Director of Gambia Skilled Academy. Gambia is in Bruceby, Turntable, and also we have an annex in Farafenni. And before the end of this month, we have another annex in Soma, inshallah. What motivated me? I'm not into fashion. I studied banking and finance, and I have my master's in finance. That's what I studied. So when I come home, I was working in the bank to pursue with my career. But I used to go to work at 7, come home at 8 in the night. And then I just got married, and there was no time for family. And before coming home, I had a daughter that I always see whole day. And she hardly sees me until like Saturdays or Sundays. That's the only day she sees me. And I was like, I'm not fair to her. I've worked so hard when I was in UK. Do I have to work really hard when I'm here? Let me try and do something different. But I have skills in hairdressing. I can do hair then. And when I was in university, I couldn't do much work having a permanent job because it was so tense for me. I have to do a part-time job. It was going to salons and working. So because of the skills I have, I said, okay, I'm going to open a salon and then run the salon and leave the banking job. When I opened the salon, I realized that being an entrepreneur is more profitable than working for somebody else. And I said, I want to be my own boss. So I started running the salon then. I live in Kololi, where 80% of our neighborhood are white people or people who dated white people and live in the area. So I saw a young girl living opposite my house, dating a 60-year-old man, and the girl was just 21. When I asked, he said, I was working for him, he was paying me $1,000 to clean his room. Now he is my boyfriend and he's giving me $5,000 a month. I said to her, you can earn more than $5,000 a month believing in yourself and working for yourself. Then she said, how can I do that? I said, whenever I'm going to my salon, you can come with me. If you learn how to do hair, even if you're home and people wanted to do hair around here, you can do and earn money without even having a shop. Then she started following me. Then the guy was not happy about that. Then he said, if you keep on taking her, I'm not going to pay for anything to do this. I said, I'm not charging, I'm just trying to help her. And there was a day I went to him and threatened him and said, if you stop her coming, I'm going to report you to the police because you're 4 times older than her. Then he was scared. He said, okay, I have a mini laptop, I'll give to you. And I said to my husband, I can open a school and train young girls like her. So that's how it started. You see? So then I said, okay, I'll open the school. But I wanted to open the school, and I said, I've learned and I got my degree, I got my papers. Do I have to open school and then just tell people that I train you? I said, no, let me just go around and ask how to get the right requirements for opening a school. Then I went to the ministry, lower basic. They said, it's not here. Go to higher education. I did. They moved me to Naka. And that's where I have the license. I did it the right way. I wasn't in a hurry to do it. The first year, I only had 14 students. And I trained them all with different stories. And we graduated them in 2010-14. And after the graduation, we had Women's Bureau, SDF. A lot of people were interested in what we do, and the numbers started increasing. And alhamdulillah, this year is going to be our 10 years anniversary, and we're going to celebrate in style. So it was 10 years last week on the 1st. So we've graduated over 2,100 youths across the country, I can say, because we had a center in Farafenye. And 2 weeks ago, I was handed over a center, complete center in Soma, free of charge by the governor to run a skills training in Soma, meaning it's working. So I'll encourage my daughter Chan to be very active in what she's doing because it's the heart that goes. It's not just what you have. We are social entrepreneurs. We give back to communities, we develop lives, and we change the mindset of people for them to be independent and self-reliant. We empower them, and they empower others, and others empower others. We build the nation. We give in the skills training, we build the nation. And when I look at the team this year, I said, it's for us. The team is for us. They said, innovate for change. To be better for all of us, for everyone. So that is what we stand for. Because we don't look for just what we can have, but what we can do for other people, for them to also do for others, and we all collectively develop our small Gambia to the next level. Thank you.
Let's talk about the fact that you have branches in rural Gambia. Because I know a lot of young people complain that when it comes to rural Gambia, they are not giving a lot of concentration and the list goes on. So what really motivated you to take the school to rural Gambia? Because I think it's a brilliant initiative. Okay. In 2010, when I had my second, in 2011, when I had my second graduation, I always invite stakeholders to come and see what we do. Because we don't only train, we train and add value. We innovate, we add value to what we do. Like the hairdressing that the students do. They make bags, they make shoes, they make tables, they make a lot of other things that just come out of their mind. That is the added value we do, that we create. So when UNDP came, they were inspired about what we do. And we train entrepreneurship, because that is also a field that I have in my career. So we do entrepreneurship, public speaking, and all these things at the school. So the students
They exhibit what they do, and UNDP were honored. So when they called me, they had the GAM Jobs project then they said, what do you want to do? I said, I wanted to like go to different places, reach out to different youths, and use the concept of getting youth off the street, which is my mission. To get every youth off the street, give them marketable skills that they will believe in themselves wherever they are, work and earn a living. So they said, where do you want to go? By then I've trained 3 young girls from Farafenni. And 2 of them refused to go back. They wanted to stay here. So I said, this is not encouraging rural-urban drift. And looking at the statistics, because I read a lot, I saw that there was a high percentage of young people that goes through the Deadly Sea, the back way, and they were from Farafenni, the North Bank. So when I saw that, I said, there is another opportunity of me going to Farafenni to curb the illegal migration through skills training. There is also a mission that I want to accomplish, and I have the vision and work towards it to accomplish it. That is why I went to Farafenni, to curb the illegal migration through the skills I give, and also to support some youths not to do a rural-urban drift, and also give them the opportunity to know that wherever they are, they can develop their communities and stay there and be role models.
Young women go to the back way. At the end of the day, we have seen that it's not just with men, but young women do go to the back way. So at the end of the day, having this to motivate them to stay in the Gambia is very important. And like I always say, all of us cannot sit in offices. All of us cannot be lawyers. All of us cannot be journalists. Some of us have to have that particular skill. Some of us must walk in, some of us must be plumbers. Some of us must be carpenters, and the list goes on. We all cannot sit in offices. So I think that concept too has to be worked on. Anyway, how many of you are inspired?
Yes, I'm a student of Latrikunda Public School. My question is, do you guys face any form of discrimination in this society? Because as for me, since when I was a kid, I want to be a designer, but people discriminate. They say that I can't draw, so I can't be a designer. I can't draw, so I cannot be a designer.
Yeah, like her question is like, as women designers, what are some of the difficulties that you face in relation to women in relation to people trying to pull you down, telling you that you can't do this? So who wants to answer that question? Yeah.
Yes, like I've said before, the fashion field is very wide. And just because you cannot draw doesn't mean that you cannot be a fashion designer. Okay? The first step you need to take is, okay, this is my challenge. I cannot draw. So what are you going to do to make sure that you can draw? That's my question to you. What are you going to do to make sure that you have overcome this challenge and make sure that you can draw? One thing.
Yeah, where are you? Yeah, you can come, yeah.
How are you going to prove others wrong to make sure that you can draw and tell them that I can do it? What are you going to do? Exactly. Okay. You can. That's one thing you have to do. When you want to overcome something, it doesn't happen in a day. Okay? It takes practice, it takes time, dedication, sacrifice, commitment, and the list goes on. Okay? Let nobody tell you that you cannot do anything. The place I am in today, if I was told today that I would be the principal of an institution, a trainer of an institution, I used to be the very quiet, shy type in class. And look at me today. It took practice, okay? I reevaluated my life and said, this is what I want to be, okay? And how am I going to overcome this? By practice, okay? So you have to practice, you have to sacrifice, and make sure that you prove them wrong and you can do it, okay? It's not going to take one day, but with time, you will overcome it, and you'll be the best designer, okay? Have that in your goal. I'll be the best designer I can be, and then you would be that.
Yeah, I think that was a very important question, and she actually highlighted a very important point. I can also share my experience. When I was young, like for instance, when I was your age, I used to watch Fatou Camara on GRTS presenting the news. I used to ask myself, when am I going to present the news? How am I going to do it? And the list goes on. But when I at some point told myself that I can do this, and with practice, I am able to do it. So everything comes with practice. You never say that you cannot do a particular thing. When you practice it, you do it, and confidence come into play. That is why all of you young women have to be confident, and when you have children, you train them to be that particular bold young lady and confident young person. And with that, there's a balance for better. I believe so. Yes. So we will have one last question, maybe. I don't know, by time, could you? Okay, we can take 2 more. Yes, thank you. We can have one. Oh, we have 3. Okay, last 3 then. Here.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fanmata Jallo, a student from Koti Senior Secondary. My question goes to them. I don't know who is going to answer the question. Is what advice do you have for the students? Because the skill, I think, is for both the students and other youths. So if you are going to school, how are you going to manage the school with training the skill? What advice do you have for that?
Yeah, anyway, I asked that same question to Tiga, so maybe we can give Yaos. Yaos didn't answer any so far, so maybe you can answer that.
So you know in schools you have the art subjects. So I had to drop French for arts because I, like I said, at a very young age, I found out I like being creative. And so maybe you can start by that, by getting into an art subject and practicing there because, with the art subjects, you get to train more about all these things that we do. And so that's one step. Maybe you can find an after class, like any of us would want to take you to come in as an intern or as a trainer, because with interns you have to have the skill first, then you come for an intern, then you become whatever you want to be. But you can ask any of us here that you would want to come in, for example, to do training to know how we operate our businesses. That's another way of getting into that field, if that answers your question. Yeah?
Okay. 2 years ago, I've partnered with the senior schools in Farafenni to get the grade 9 and the grade 11 into skills. So they usually come in the afternoons. So we had a very good success story that I would like to just buttress on. Aisatu was going to school in the senior school and then coming to us to do the afternoon school in catering. So when she completed, she was really good. When she finished high school, she couldn't get a job. But because she had the skills then, immediately she was working with the center. She worked with us for 2 years, and now she opened a restaurant, and she's supported by the YEP and been featured by ITC. Just to tell you, you can have both skills and school, like coming to skills and skills training in the afternoon and then going to school. If you complete and there is no job immediately, you can still be independent because you have a skill to run. And believe me, you will love that skill and don't want to go back to further the education because you'll earn every day.
The fact that you have a hobby, you want to be a footballer, for instance, but it needs to be accompanied by something else. You can be a lawyer, at the same time, be a footballer. You can be a soldier. Normally, you see soldiers study medicine because when they go to the field, it's not like they're going to hold a gun or something, but it's because they will be taking care of casualties. So normally, it's important to have a hobby or whatever skill that you want to do, but accompany it with something else. So I think that is a very important point. Yes, another question. Yes, let's have you. Thank you. I want you to choose somebody who's going to answer. Yeah.
Okay.
You just pick somebody to answer.
Assalamu alaikum to you all. I am Awaba, a student of Kodu Senior Secondary School. Well, I have 2 questions basically. One, I am specific. I am asking you. According to her, she said you cannot go with 2 things and you expect both of them to be as satisfactory as you want them to be. And okay, I mixed up you. So one of you also said that you are studying law and at the same time doing this fashion. So my question is, how do you think what she said is somehow contrary to what you said. So how do you think you are managing it? And the second question is, they said institutions or training centers are available here, but how well accessible are they? Poor people like me or a poor person like me, how can I get access to those training centers when even to pay some of my study fees, I find it very difficult? How do you think you can help people like me or any other person here? Because not everybody can get access to, very expensive things like, training centers. I once had a friend of mine saying to study fashion designing, you need to pay something like 11,000. And I was like, whoa, even if I want to study that, I will not study it. So how, yeah.
Yeah, I think that question will go for Auntie Fatu because you talked about something that has to do with internship. So this question, the first question is actually a debate. Yeah, I think the first question is actually a debate between the two of you. So I will allow Chan because you talked about the fact that having to put two things together really might not work. So after that, we'll have Tiga talk about how it works for her. Yes, absolutely.
So what I meant was, when you get into the field that you're really passionate about, okay, you need to focus on it. Like for me from the beginning, I have been up and down with so many business ideas. You know, I was like a floating balloon. I'm just in the air. Whenever an idea comes in mind, I was like, I'm gonna go do that. So I had no sense of direction. But it doesn't mean that I didn't learn anything else. I developed a passion for entrepreneurship, okay, which is my side study. I made sure I invested time in entrepreneurship. And it's relating to my business because to be a successful businesswoman, to be an entrepreneur, to be a fashion designer, you need to have some business skills, okay? And that's how I took that part into my business. And now I have a sense of direction because this is my passion. I focus 100% on how to make sure that my institution goes further. And I believe that to make sure that my institution would be the best in West Africa, I cannot be a doctor to also be a fashion designer. That's my belief. So, but it doesn't mean that you can't, at this stage, you can try so many things out. You guys are very young, but when you get to the stage where it's the real world and you're like, this is what I'm focused on, that's when you focus on what you want to be to make sure that it's big. That's my idea.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And actually, when Chan said that earlier, I was about to say, no, you can actually do, yeah, you agree with me as well. You can do more than one thing and be very, very successful at it. I am doing it. I'm having my A's in law school, and mashallah, mashallah, touch wood. I am also taking my business, Tiga, on the journey that I want it to get to and achieving our goals and our yearly plans and all that. So it can be done. Women are doing it. I know a very prominent female lawyer here in the Gambia who has 5 businesses, 5 very successful top businesses in the Gambia, and also has an extremely successful law firm. So she has 6 things going on and everything is successful. So it depends on the individual, how strong you are, how determined you are, and how good you are at multitasking, and how much you want those things to be a success. So it all depends on you. But I don't want you to leave here believing that you can only do one thing at a time, because no, you can do 2 things at a time, 3, 4, 100 if you want to, as long as you know that you can handle it and do them well.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. She's saying that as an individual, you need that sense of direction, and you can say that, you were saying that as a lady, you have to multitask. Yeah. So I'm enjoying the debate here. I'm enjoying the debate.
No, but Chan said that that's for her. Yeah. That's what works. She can only focus on one thing, right? But what I'm saying,
I have done so many other things
before
and then
that.
When I got to the point, you get to a point when you're focused on what you want to establish, and that's personal to you, okay? So I feel like in my field, it's very tough. And for me to be successful in my field, I need to focus on that. But it doesn't mean that you cannot try anything else, especially you guys at this age. I didn't say that don't go and focus on anything. Try so many things out. Fall up and down. When you fall down, you can come up and learn from that and try something else, okay? So
I think that's clear. So that's for concerning the fact that they're saying that the girl is trying to put across that the studying fashion or having anything to do with the fashion industry is a little bit expensive. So as people who are not very fortunate, how do they actually get to study fashion in the Gambia concerning the expenses?
If you have a passion and you have a mindset that this is what I want, nothing is expensive. Because the skills that we give, they are marketable skills. For example, if you learn in hairdressing, for a period of 3 months, you're able to do a makeup, to do a hairstyle. You'll be like calling by people to do a massage, that everybody needs massage now. People can call you to go and do a massage, and a full body massage costs $800. If you have that one in a week, and also do a makeup, $300 in a week, 4 or 5 makeup, are you not earning and you haven't finished your course? This is the beauty about the marketable skills. And if that happens, you'll be able to even pay for yourself. I have students that people come and just deposit quarter for our school fees, and the balance they pay for themselves, and they are never late in payment. Why? Because they believe that this is what they want, and it's a career that they will start today and move on with it for the rest of their lives. So they create things and innovate and go out there to work. The life of an entrepreneur is full of a challenge. If you choose an option to be an entrepreneur, you start the challenge from day one to the day you die. Never stop. Okay? Yes.
Like for me and her, we're in the educational field in fashion, okay? So like you said, some people don't have the finances for that. And it's also, we don't operate some firms that we have free education yet, okay, for people. But we do have, we're working with NGOs and other organizations that do sponsor some students. So if you can reach out to those organizations or even come to us and say, this is what I want, but I don't have the finances, okay? And we interview you and put your name down. When these opportunities come about.
Inside training center. Yes, my question is, especially for those working in the fashion industry, like in the Gambia here, we have, let's say, a notion I can say, that whosoever is engaging or busy trying to do something that has to do with fashion, like parents, most parents who are not aware, they say that these girls, let's say, they don't have that manners, or they are not coming from a respectable home. You understand? So we are seeing that. And I personally, I've seen someone who is living in my area, and that's the problem she has. And she said that this is something that she wants to venture into, but she's facing a lot of problems from the parents. So what are some of the plans in place to reach out to those young girls who are down there in the hinterland, who maybe don't have the opportunity to listen to you guys here? So how are you going to make sure you reach out to these people? Tell them, come up, show up. These things are for you. You are women. And I believe that they say what a man can do, a woman can do. So most of these girls, they don't know that this is something that can be realized. So how do you convince these people? Tell them to come to the party. That's my question.
I think Auntie Fatou already answered that, but you can still talk about it again. Concerning young people who are in the rural areas.
Thank you. Young people in the rural area are given chances now because I've seen a lot of projects coming in, and what they do is go to the provinces. So there are forums happening like these ones. I'm not sure about the International Women's Day today, whether people are there, but there are so many forums, there are so many sensitizations. And then if you go to the rural areas, there are community radios that give out free educational slots. So our school, every Friday, we go on air to talk to the communities, and it go to the far end of Tubase for people to hear about skills training and what they can do. And we partner with some projects in the provinces. Our school have foundations, nobody pays a fee because it's supported by projects that works in partnership with us. So we talk to sensitize them in different ways, and also take the students that have successes, that have opened their own businesses, to go around in communities also to motivate others. Whenever we do recruitment, we were in Farafenni, but we don't only stop in Farafenni, but we go across to Soma, to Jara, to many other communities that have a panchang to talk to youths around that area, and they all come and learn at the center in Farafenni. We also host students in Farafenni for a period of 1 year during their studies, and we do those too with donors. They funded those, and we do them. So the sensitization is going on, and I would like to challenge Chan and the others, if they want to open skill centers in the province. It's just the social entrepreneurship there. All what you do is social. Sometimes we stay for a year without getting funding, but we still continue, just to make sure we reach out to them and give them the hope that others are having in here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is about to bring us to the end. But before that, I will just allow our panelists to give their final words. Maybe just something that these young people will take home with them. When they sleep today and they wake up tomorrow, they'll think about it. And like we said, it's balance for better.
Before I give you my last word, there's just one tiny thing I just wanted to say about women empowerment. And I feel like I have to bring it out. My rebellious gene inside won't let me finish without saying it. And I also said this yesterday at the Standard Chartered's International Women's Day celebration, that when it comes to women empowerment, I feel like, a lot of people, say it, advocate for it because it's the popular thing to do at the moment. And it brings a lot of positivity to them. So what I always say is that it's very important to not only advocate for it, but we have to be genuine with it. When we say it, we have to mean it. We have to want to see other girls, other women to do well and to be successful, and not just to be shouting women empowerment left, right, and center because it's the nice thing to say. So my final advice to the girls, what I want you to go with is that you can be and do whatever you want in life. There are no limitations. The only limitations there are the ones that you set for yourself. Do not allow any religious or cultural barriers to stand in your way. Break them down, burn them down, which is what I do. Don't let anything stand in your way. And don't allow anybody to tell you that you cannot be something that you want to be. Nobody has that right. Absolutely nobody. Believe in yourself, concentrate on your education, because at the end of the day, that education as well is your insurance policy. Because when all fails, you can always count on that certificate to get a job wherever you are in this world. So make it a priority. Do not joke with it. And don't leave it for anything or for anybody in this world.
Thank you for the whole team for having us here once again. And also for my research, youths in the Gambia bear a huge part of unemployment due to lack of skill. Okay, or a mismatch between skills possessed and those in demand in the labor market. So you might not know, but a lot of youths are sitting at home not having any job to do. And it was shocking when I found out the number of the youths that are out there that don't have this employment, okay? And what I mean by the mismatch between the skills possessed and those in demand in the labor market, a lot of people are focused on one or two areas. They feel like that's the place we are going to be successful. Okay, I need to be a lawyer, I need to be an accountant. When there's so many spots out there, so many skills that we need to, there's a niche out there that we need to, tap into. And that's why there is not much qualified fashion designers, not much qualified carpenters. So how about we filled that gap, and then that's how actually we're going to develop, okay? So skills is really very important. Let's focus on that. And like she said, education, always, like I say, I always learn every day, okay? Learning doesn't stop, never stops in life. Always learn and learn. And then one more thing, with my girls, like my girls here, I would say that marriage is not an accomplishment, okay? So we are meant to believe that if you're not married, if you're married, that's the end of it. You're going to find a guy that will do everything for you, and you're going to be happy for the rest of your life. It's not. Focus on your education. Focus on building yourself. Focus on being confident, okay? Focus on being independent first, okay? And those are the those are what we need to focus on. And when marriage comes and the guy meets you with all these qualities,
he will behave.
Thank you.
He will behave.
Thank you. They will respect you further, okay? We are beautiful, we are bold, we are strong, and don't let anybody put you down, and don't let anybody, like she said, tell you that you can't be this, you can't be that. Okay, believe in yourself and walk towards your goal and your vision. Yes. Thank you.
So I believe women are the most powerful thing God has ever created. I believe women should be sisters keeper. We should look after each other. I think what I want to leave with you is to be very confident with yourselves, to know and realize what you want, to visualize, to plan, and the sky's the limit. Because we're so powerful, we can achieve whatever we want. But we need to be very respectful. We need to love each other. We need to support each other. We need to be very mindful of each other. And we can conquer the world.
Thank you. I've seen my girls have said it all, but I can add a little bit to it. I believe in honesty, because that is a brand. That is your brand, and that goes with you forever. Whatever you say, whatever you do, let it be something that is truth, and then be honest to yourself. Because with that, people will respect you. With that, you will have a brand that will never change. So that is what I would like to say first. I believe in self-independence. I believe in empowerment. Not to just empower yourself. Don't look at, I'm going to empower myself. But whenever you empower yourself, think about empowering other people. Because if you're only empowered and other people are not, then it means that you have to go back and try to solve their problems. They said, teach a man how to fish, rather than give him a fish every day. So empower others to empower others, and empower others, it will be the empower of 10. And if that happens, everybody will be empowered, and we will have a very good nation to live in. We the entrepreneurs, we are the champions. Believe in that. Go to school, learn, and also think of something else that you will add. Add something else. There are so many opportunities. There are so many opportunities around us. Anywhere you turn, there is something that you can do. Look at all problems as something that you can solve. And when you solve them, you're not just solving them for yourself, but solving them to solve other people's problem and also solve the nation's problem, and then we'll live a vibrant Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would like to thank our guest speakers for coming, for your time. Thank you very much. The Gambia Deaf Women Association, the sign language interpreter, and our videographers, Usman Fay, American Corner staff, and the entire team of Prospect for Girls, because this activity is fully funded by Prospect for Girls. Yes. So we would like to thank everyone who has contributed in one way or the other. So one of you asked, how can someone who cannot afford to pay for their vocational skills tuition fee? So I am happy to announce that Prospect for Girls is going to award 40 fully funded scholarships for young Gambians between the age of 18 to 35 years. So we have 4 different vocational skills training that we're going to train women and girls. So the aim of this vocational skills project is to empower women and girls so that they will have livelihood skills. So when they go outside, they can start their own businesses, get job opportunities, so we can empower each other and then contribute to economic growth. So we are collaborating with different training institutions, and I am happy to say Antifatu is here, one of the institutions that we are going to work with. So Antifatu is going to give us 50% tuition discount for our vocational skills training. So thank you very much, Antifatu, for that. So the application is on right now. So if you want to be part of this skills training to get a fully funded. Sees right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because you're a head guy, I'm sure you're the smartest. So you can easily have scholarship anywhere you start. So don't limit yourself because you think you can afford the money, okay?
So you don't have to get the money. Prospect for Girls is here. We also extend and implement our activities in rural Gambia. Currently, we are implementing a nationwide women's health campaign to teach 1,000 girls on menstrual hygiene. This project and the vocational skills project are all funded by the U.S. Embassy, so we would like to thank them for their support. So what you can do right now is go to our social media pages, Prospect for Girls Gambia, and start your application. The deadline is 29th of this month, so don't miss the opportunity. Thank you very much, everyone. So, balance for better. We make Gambia a great place for everyone.
Tracks today.